we back? We live?
We're back.
Yeah.
Hi.
We're back. Mikey and Me podcast. I'm Mikey.
Me.
Meet you.
Me. Meet you. It's great to be here, and it's great to see your arms. You're not wearing a sweatshirt tonight.
I'm not.
Could you tell me about this?
You want to know about this denim shirt, don't
this
you?
fashion choice?
You know about that denim shirt?
I don't know much about it.
No, I'm saying, but you want to know about it, though.
I
can tell since I've come
know.
in, you've been looking at it.
I've been glancing. I can't help it. I'm a bit curious.
Give it a touch. A little soft. Yeah.
That's cotton, yo.
Yeah.
That's cotton.
Yeah. Izod.
So what are we working out with?
Izod, my man.
Izod.
Yeah.
All right. So
No,
that means you're a golfer.
No, absolutely not.
Perfect. So that means
not a golfer
you
at all.
aspire to be one.
But yeah,
Okay.
if I not at all.
Okay.
But I could golf if I had to. And
But
I
you
think
wanted
the
to talk
shirt-
about the shirt, so what did you
Yeah.
want to talk about it?
Just, I mean, look at it.
I see it.
Does it not look? I mean, the buttons, they got a nice, like, deep. What is that?
Those
The
are
way that-
buttons.
No, but I mean the way they refract or whatever.
Oh, the light refracting quality of the buttons.
Yeah, it's almost like you're tripping DMT when you're looking at it.
Yes,
Speaking,
that's exactly what it's like.
tripping
Not
DMT.
to count like. That is what it is like.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, either way, we're gonna stop talking about the shirt because I can tell you're getting a little bit jealous. So we'll just
A bit
get you
jelly.
one for Christmas. It's around the corner.
That's great. I would love to have one of those to wear at any given time.
Pair them with a pair of denim pants, and you got
Denim on
yourself
denim?
and a jacket, and it's a Canadian tuxedo.
It truly is.
You got your set up. No disrespect.
Okay, what
to
are we
the
doing here?
Canadians.
What are we
I
doing
don't
here
know.
tonight?
We're gonna talk about movies.
We are actually going to talk about movies.
We're gonna talk about some movies.
Okay, and well, I guess I'm acting like I'm clueless.
No,
but
yeah,
obviously I'm not.
you are the movie guy here on this one, and I'm gonna let you pretty much at that point take the lead because you had the idea of let's talk about movies that like people wouldn't know about or ever hear about, but that are highly underrated.
I would say that is a defining quality. I would say
How would you put it?
the movies I was thinking of specifically, I would define as generally inaccessible, probably. Like movies that
Good
I
way of
think
putting it.
are masterpieces, but more than likely unwatchable or inaccessible
Not
to
gonna find them.
inaccessible as in even if somebody could watch them, once they sit there and after about 10 minutes they might not be able to sit through it because it might just be like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
What is going on? Or there might be things they see that are very offensive or very just jarring, and not not to say that
sometimes
they all are
They can be tough to get through. You got to break that layer, like you said, and then it's
right. And it could
And
be
not
the
a lot
camera.
of people are going to stick around for that.
Right. Like in one of them, I remember seeing it at an independent theater in high school, and some people getting up and walking out during it. At the beginning, it's the little baby. I don't know how loud that is, but that's fine.
Oh, she just. You need to go get her?
Oh no, you don't have to get her. I guess let's close the door. Oh, there she goes. Oh, sweet.
She's asleep.
No, that's probably my wife's probably getting her.
No, that's what I said.
I know I'm being a bad father.
Oh.
No, but just from the way that one of them, so I guess we'll just forget. They could be unwatchable for whatever reason.
No,
for most
I see
people.
exactly what you mean because because just the one that I watched the other night, it's like I see exactly what you mean. It's that layer to get through.
Almost like this is stupid. This is confusing. This doesn't make any sense.
But once you can kind of just let go of.
Yeah, just let go of that mindset and just try and embrace the experience of it. This is more, I want to see how this film forces some emotional response out of me.
Yeah.
And so, one of the top...
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I'd say, so just, I could name a few, but there's one in particular that I asked Mikey, who had never seen it before, to watch, so he's coming with fresh eyes. It's this movie, came out in 2009, called Enter the Void, directed by Gaspar Noé.
I'm not even gonna try and pronounce the fella's name. I'll
And
tell you
so-
that. I got too much respect for the guy.
And so this came out in 2009. The reason I wanted to see it when it came out was because in 2002, whenever I was a junior in high school, I went, and I think Brandon was actually with me. We went to go see, I wanted to see this movie called Irreversible that was playing at the Magnolia, which people walked out of that movie. It's a
yeah.
reverse chronological movie, right? So it's like every scene that's done it starts at the end of the movie. It's kind of like Memento,
Okay, yes.
in a way. And
Yes.
every scene it's going backwards in time.
Yeah.
But the way the director does
The beginning
visuals,
of the movie is the end of the movie.
Exactly, but the way he does this camera
walk
work and
it back,
everything,
yeah.
like the beginning, some people might get motion sickness because the camera's spinning around
Yeah.
in ways that would make you nauseous. But it's the way he's doing the camera work the whole time. It's mirroring kind of the emotional state of the main character, or just the emotional state of the overall film itself, because it
Yeah.
goes from some very crazy tragic event working backwards. And in the middle of it, it's kind of the whole focal point is, I think, the longest rape scene in a movie. That people walked out of trust. It was. I don't know if I could watch it again.
Graping, that's a bit rough.
I don't know if I could watch it, but that's kind of a focal point of the film and why someone's going after trying to find the person who did it to her. So it's going backwards. And the ending is like in a peaceful, beautiful scenario. Sorry, it's just a spoiler alert, but I don't expect anyone to watch this movie.
No, nobody's gonna.
I don't expect anyone to watch this movie.
They're not. They're more than likely.
Irreversible, right? So because of that, and I was just blown away. It was offensive, but I'm curious to see what movie this guy does next. So Enter the Void, that came out, and it's such a head trip. It's literally a trip in as far as his camera work and cinematography, the way he does things. It's as though he's trying to make you literally feel or experience the whole intent or what the whole message or meaning is.
Yeah.
And so this one is, spoiler alert, I guess, but summary, it's basically what would it be like if you died while you were on DMT. So if you died while you're taking drug DMT, it affects the pineal gland and basically gives you a near-death experience, or gives you the experience of death or closest thing to it without dying.
Yeah.
So if you are having an out-of-body death experience and then you die, just being in that state.
Yeah.
And so basically it's the main character, you're behind. He never even shows his face except for in the mirror.
I was gonna say that, and then too, there's a scene on like the balcony where it's a little bit further back than they normally show him, and he looks to the side, and you can kind of see like the side of his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no, it definitely like it was early on. I recognized like this isn't like any movie that I've seen film before.
Yeah.
It was a totally different take on something, and it was at first, it wasn't really, to me, it wasn't tough to watch at first.
Yeah.
The very beginning of it and everything.
It's about a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, I caught onto like the concept, kind of quick.
Yeah.
But then like whenever it got to the end, some of it I feel like there's some parts that's where movies can like go wrong in a sense, because it's like when you try and go too far into showing like what that must be like, or a perspective of a certain situation. Like for instance, I don't necessarily want to see a movie about Helen Keller from her point of view.
Yeah, you don't, but at the same time, if it existed, I would want to watch it. But it would be what would that movie be? Just a black. You'd have to vibrate seats or something to be able to, because she was dumb, deaf, and blind. It's funny you say that, because
so she would have, you would have to, what does that movie even look like if it's, so I don't mean to hate on Helen Keller or anything like that, but yeah, so I mean, I don't know, I just feel like there's a point where
it's funny you say that though, because this director had a movie he made called Love, right? So there's a lot of scenes in movies, it's almost like I wouldn't personally do gratuitous sex and things like that. I don't get why, some filmmakers feel the need, but again, I think he wants to really shock people a lot. He wants to like jar them. Mm-hmm. But he had this movie Love that came out after this, which is basically unrated, but it had like unsimulated sex in it. So it was basically like a film that was porn also, but it was shown in some theaters. I'm pretty sure he had I don't even know where they had this, but he had it shot in 3D to where whenever the dude, whatever, it would be in 3D. Like it's
no.
yeah, he's really about shocking and jarring you, and he knows that sex is sex and violence obviously are ways to do it. So,
oh my God.
and that's why I wouldn't ever do that. But at the same time, just to experience and see someone who's doing things with the skill that he in the craftsmanship that he has. I just because I love movies so much, I have to watch it.
Yeah, but as far as most people being able, like you said, a lot of people aren't going to watch those movies. But as far as Enter the Void goes, it really is it is a one of a kind movie because it's the closest thing I can think of that I've seen that goes towards showing what it would be like if you pass away for like. That because some people think when you pass away that you go to heaven or you go to hell or you go to purgatory or some type of whatever your religion is, you go somewhere. This is more or less showing like reincarnation in a way.
Yeah,
at the end it's like
really
more or less showing
like he's a free floating spirit for a while, and then because you interpret it that he's being reincarnated.
Exactly. It looks awfully a lot like they're almost showing how the process of life could begin again or something at one point. But either way, it's the only movie I've seen that tries to really, show what that might look like or what that experience would be like versus just, other movies that would allude to it, by things where somebody dies and they come back and remember something and it's like, oh, that's that guy.
It's like, no, if you were free-floating spirit
this
and
is
you
what
were
it would
moving
look
through
like.
walls and you were flying and
getting to see people grieving over the situation and like...
The cool thing is about the place because he filmed it in Tokyo, just because of how crazy the lighting is and just how insane to imagine flying around night in Tokyo as a spirit with the lights and just the architecture. And so he filmed it there, and it is definitely a trip.
Absolutely, no, and I mean it is. I think it's the thing. The thing I think you should take away from movies like that or the other ones you might mention is you have to do the best you can to, like, while it might not be a movie you like, do the best you can to just try and watch the movie from, like you said, what is this person, try and get into the perspective that they're trying to put.
Think of it as an art installation almost.
Exactly.
Like,
don't look at it like
trying to get me to experience and feel from this, because he's the kind of director in, like, I think his maybe first main film called I Stand Alone, or at least the first wide released one, which is the whole plot is disturbing. It's
I Stand Alone.
Right. Yeah. I would say just don't even try and watch it.
Okay.
He's some butcher who has, I think, like a slow daughter, and he like rapes her, and
good Lord.
And then there's some other weird stuff, and it's just like, why? And
talking about grape on a lot of
we're done mentioning. Through it, a warning flashes up where it says you might want to leave the theater now if you are easily offended, and it has like this brutal scene where this person's killed. Like, but he doesn't like
it
flashing.
Says that?
Yeah, like, literally, like it flashes up on the screen. But the director did. So if you see that, you kind of see what he does, because then the void starts with a bunch of flashing lights. Yeah. So he's trying to elicit a response physically out of you.
Yeah,
and it's cool because it starts with enter, the whole movie happens, and then ends with the void.
Yep. Yep.
And I just have to the newest movie he made called Vortex, which is actually, you could show it to your kids. It's PG level movie, which is crazy, but I couldn't even get through it. It's literally about this old couple, and it has basically the camera's cutting, I guess, the split screen, and it's following around this old retired man and wife, and just what they do throughout their day. And just imagine what an old person who's kind of poor and has not much going on in life, how slow and depressing their days might be. It's just, it's literally 2.5 or 3 hours
of just that?
Of like them getting up, going to the bathroom, looking
opening a can of beans, heating them up.
And it's funny because the way he does that starts with the credits rolling up the screen, incredibly slow.
Oh God.
So slow, you're like, how long is it going to be for this movie to start? But then you kind of get the point that how uneventful and how life gets for most towards the end of life, how it's just a drag of existence for a lot of people. At least that's the way he presents it.
Yeah.
And just it starts off with that way, and it's gotta be arguably the slowest, most uninteresting movie you could imagine. But
really?
It's at
and
the same
it's
time
Vortex,
it's called Vortex.
Wow.
And at the same time, that's exactly what he's wanting to do.
Yeah. No, and that's...
it's the thing about knowing the director is like he knows what he's doing and exactly how boring and unwatchable this is.
Well, and that's I mean, I know we're kind of skipping around, but why not? That's the movie Enemy. I'm sorry. I know I'm just jumping into it.
No, jump into it.
I know I'm just jumping around and saying shit here, but it's like you have a more obscure, like your movies are way more obscure. But the ones I know about are still, it's like the majority of the population is never going to watch Enemy or hear about it even.
And
they're
even
not
though
even going
that's
to know about
Gyllenhaal in it, they still don't know about it. And Dennis Villeneuve directed
exactly. And that was a movie that I watched, and it was just like, it was incredible. It was like, I'm watching the movie, I'm like, all right, this is a good movie. Like, it had me pretty, hooked, and then the ending happens, and I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? And I didn't know anybody who'd seen this movie. I didn't understand the movie. And then
one of the other episodes, like, who can I talk to about
who
this?
do I talk to? So, it's like those are movies that it's like they're worth giving a chance to because, once you can just like kind of get off down that, go down that road and just like allow yourself to just suspend all judgment and suspend your, opinions and just like let the movie go and
do your best to not let yourself be offended in the way that they're trying to do.
Yes.
Go in there as best you can with as objective thinking, okay, I want to just see what they're trying to accomplish. And if what they're trying to accomplish is to get people to walk out, I'm not gonna fall for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fucking stamped.
And I'm like, man, maybe I should have just walked out.
Yeah.
Right? But
no.
And so
So speaking of movie you should have walked out of, I went and saw the movie Fighting for whatever reason.
Fighting?
Yeah, exactly. It was me and my buddy went and saw it.
Is that in theaters right now?
No, absolutely not. It was years ago, and I had these like a voucher to the movie theater. It was Keystone in Richardson or whatever.
Okay.
And it was, for whatever reason, I had a voucher, and me and my buddy went, and we were absolutely stoned, and we watched this whole movie, and pretty much looked at each other at the end of it, and we were just like, what the fuck did we just watch?
When
like,
you're
what was
high
this?
and something is still uninteresting and unentertaining, it's pretty bad.
Dude, it was awful, because we literally looked at each other, and we were just like, the fuck was this, man? It was the wackest movie. It had no like... Fighting. Yeah, it was just like about. It's like it was almost like a breakdance movie meets like a fight, like trying to
breakdance fighting.
Yeah, it was just it was stupid. And then my sister calls me.
Spinoff.
What was hilarious is my sister called me like,
"Hey, did you see his great movie Fighting?"
No,
and that's when I stopped talking to my sister.
No, so my sister called me like a week or so later and was like, chatting me up, whatever. And she's like, "Hey," she was like, "I know you see a lot of movies, isn't that?" She was like, "Don't go see that new movie, Fighting." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Fighting?" And I was like, "What are you fighting? What is that?" And then she starts telling me about it, and then I realize I'm like, "Oh,
I blocked that memory out."
Yeah, and then I realized
I had forgotten, and thank you for reminding me.
I ended up calling my boy, and I was like, "Yo, dude," I'm like, "My sister thought that movie was shit too." So
that's funny.
There are some genuine movies out there that are just like, what the fuck? There's no redeeming quality of some of those, but most of what we got here is
So another one, and I'm gonna jump to number 3, is it came out this year, called Beau is Afraid, and it actually has Joaquin Phoenix as the lead character, but it's the director's Ari Aster. He directed, and I'm not a person who's into horror movies, but there's this production company A24 has kind of led a charge on what people consider elevated horror genre. So it's I guess like
so
it says elevate
name?
A24.
A24.
So any movie that you see that's done by A24, there's a good chance the quality or the creative team behind it, it's something that might be worth checking out. But so this guy Ari Aster did Hereditary, right? I don't like horror movies. but that movie, in my mind, is a masterpiece.
Hereditary?
Yeah.
That's something I can talk about.
Okay, so I'm saying, so that movie in my mind is a masterpiece, and it made me realize that horror, while it's probably it has to be my least favorite genre or one of them.
Really?
It might, as far as dealing or addressing topics or themes that you want to hit a wider audience with. Say if you want to deal with like Hereditary, deal with trauma and loss in a way that still captures a bunch of people by wrapping it in a horror story.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to just having a really depressing film about somebody dying, right?
I see what you mean.
But say if you wrap it in some crazy horror mythology, that if you go back and you watch analysis or just all the different scenes and like the mise en scene, which is like basically all the everything and the elements that go into the image that you're seeing on the screen at a given time. It's so expertly crafted that it gives you little clues and tells here and there more about what's going on, and then by the end it's like you're the character who by the end they figure out how real the whole, I guess, cult whatever thing is. It's already too late.
Yeah.
But there's little things here and there planted throughout the movie. But so you've watched Hereditary.
So Hereditary actually was a movie that I went and saw that with a buddy of mine. We watched it, and I won't watch it really. I love horror movies.
It's not something you ever want to watch again, is it?
Well, it's not. It's really not, and it's not something. Yeah. It's definitely not. Although I did watch it again, I watched it with somebody else.
Just because they
hadn't seen it. And I watched it with my boy Crane because he had never seen it. And he had talked about it. I had talked about it to him, and he was like, I mentioned it, and he was like, I've never seen that. And I said, you never seen, Hereditary? He said no. So I put it on and we watched it, and that was only the second time I did.
Yeah.
And I swear I won't watch that movie by myself just because, like you said, that one is a very easy one where
it gets under your skin right away.
I was gonna say you don't have to really get into it to not like these other movies. I was gonna say it's not like these other movies where they're more dense, where you have to be like, okay, let me suspend judgment and get this one. It's able to just get you.
Yeah,
in it like
it has
that,
a linear story.
Oh,
it has a linear narrative to it.
Yeah,
but it is.
It has the most. Sorry to cut you off, but it has like 3 to 4 scenes in it. And most movies only have maybe one if they get lucky, but this has 4 different parts in it where I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely just like actually shocked. Like, I wasn't necessarily jump scared a lot. Like, there was one time I did, kind of like, oh shit. But a handful of times, like I said, 3-4 times that movie, it was like, oh,
and on top of that,
God.
I swear Toni Collette deserved an Oscar for that.
Oh, dude.
I've just even showing somebody bawling over that, like suffering that much over the loss of a child like that, to see that so well acted. When she went out to the car, that was almost and start in the morning
when he's just laying there, and she goes out to the car because I already knew it. I'm just sitting there like. I'm just like, and they're just gonna, I'm like, I was waiting for, I'm like, she's just going to let out a howl, and I was like, that's all you're going to hear, and then you heard, I was like, oh my God.
Like, for that, you're not wrong. Real, just like, emotional event. Yeah. So, Ari Aster, so he's got something special, right? He also did Midsommar, which was very disturbing.
My buddy, good buddy of mine, Jeff, who watches, he's a big fan of that one.
Yeah, Ari Aster. So that's what Beau is afraid. So I'm thinking, he's got, so far, is basically real elevated horror type movies, but this movie isn't. So this is more based on, he had a short that he did before these movies. I don't know if he was still in school or if it was prior to his major motion pictures, but this Beau character, this movie is, you go into it and it's surreal as far as everything that's happening. It's not like the world that he's in is not like the real world.
Joaquin Phoenix movie?
Yeah, this is the Joaquin Phoenix Beau is Afraid. But the movie is basically taking the idea of having serious anxiety disorder and what the world could look like in reality if everything around you mirrored the anxiety you felt. So it's like he's trying to get into his apartment every day, and there's just a homeless person who's got tattoos. A person with bad anxiety might be afraid of them and think they're going to come after him. When he's trying to get into his apartment, this guy chases him every day. Chases him like he's going to kill him every day. You know, and so it's like everything around him is like chaos.
I got you.
Because that's
what
his existence and reality that he feels the anxiety he lives with is chaos, right? And so this movie is literally just him trying to get to bury his mom, who trying to get his way across the country to bury his mom who just died. And I think Ari Aster in an interview described it as like a dark comedy of Jewish Lord of the Rings thing, but it was like a joke almost. But it's in as far as like the way Enemy ended.
Yeah,
there's something even more ridiculous. It's not the very end, towards the end.
Okay.
To where it's.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch it because I mean it's like we were talking about earlier. With once you saw you watched a movie, you took note of the director, then you went and saw out more of their
Beau
stuff.
Is afraid.
I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. And real quick, I want to mention like while we're on this and we're talking about that, can we like Joaquin Phoenix? How does he do it? How does he keep it together? Dude does like the wildest roles, I feel like, and you know it's like you hear about a lot of actors getting lost or whatever. It's like
it's like he comes across as off the rails as the characters he is.
Yeah,
I don't whatever.
I'm just saying like the stuff his method is I don't know what it is or how, but like
his actual persona, I feel like he created, and it's what makes him able to do and take on these roles or be the one that they want.
Strong enough to hold up or something.
Yeah, they're the one that he's the one that directors would want to work with. Whether it's all an act or not, or if he's really just a weird dude, it's like, I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis, if he comes over tired, he's not weird, but Daniel Day-Lewis is like legit, in my mind, he's as good as they get, he's a method actor, whatever that's worth. I don't believe you have to be a method actor to be a good actor, but you see, that's how some people want to approach it. That's fine if they do a great job. Is all I care about.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I just think it's crazy because like the roles that he's played so many that are like seem like tough psychological points of view to like capture. Like, did you ever see The Master with him and Philip Seymour Hoffman? Yeah, that was a wild one. It was like, of course, Joker.
Paul Thomas Anderson directed that.
Yeah,
it was I knew I'd like to see The Master because that director, and who also did There Will Be Blood.
That was another.
Daniel Day-Lewis. He also, his first main movie was Boogie Nights, Magnolia, right? So he does these kind of long, sprawling stories that are, I don't know, they always have a good depth or brevity to them. Like There Will Be Blood is like definitely one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah, that was that. Yeah, no,
and like Johnny Greenwood, the guitarist from Radiohead, did the soundtrack on that, and it's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he actually worked with them on Phantom Thread too. Which I think that was Daniel Day-Lewis' last movie, or maybe officially last. I don't know, but Phantom Thread, it was like about this, I guess, fashion designer, and it's some historic period, but I don't know if it's like 1800s or early 1900s. I don't know, and it was good. It wasn't all that interesting, but I mean, anything Paul Thomas Anderson does, I'm going to check out and give it my time. It's going to be well crafted and well executed.
Yeah, well, a good flick. You're in for a good one at least.
But so I mean, what are we looking here? Because if there's anything you want to
no, I mean, I'm honestly keep going because I mean I like the Beau is Afraid. So what's this? What's number 2?
Hard to Be a God.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested in that.
And I'm not even this out late at night scouring the internet just looking for interesting, thought-provoking movies on a global scale. I came across this Russian movie that came out in 2013 called Hard to Be a God, which, if you read the summary on it, is one of the most misleading synopsis that I feel like I can read. If you read the summary about it, I think it says that some...
Can you like pull up a picture like the thing here so we can see? I'm a visual type. Let's let the people see too. Because you gotta like, I'm gonna judge the book by the cover.
Okay, so Hard to Be a God.
We want to judge books by their cover. Oh, harfed. Oh, so it's like medieval.
No, see, so read the description. In the distant future, a space traveler from Earth breaks a special law and interferes with the history of another medieval-like planet.
Let's watch this right now.
But no, what I would say that this movie is, and you just watch it, and it's literally... I think they were trying to recreate the Dark Ages. It's literally what might the Dark Ages have been
Have
like, and I've
actually
followed this
been
person
like.
around. There's nothing that he does or has that would let you know that he's from the future, that lets you know he's supposed to be a space traveler. Like, he's just some guy either falling around. And it's like, it's literally just what were the Dark Ages like, I feel like. It's literally...
This actually looks cool.
I know, that's
This
what I'm
looks
saying,
cool.
in the set and design and everything. Look
at that little impoverished
and Andrzej
boy.
Tarkovsky's Stalker, that's a classic with...
Look at that. They're jerking. Look at them.
But yeah, it's literally, everything looks like it's covered in feces. There's people that's taking dumps out windows, because if you read about the Dark Ages, supposedly everything was disgusting and gross. Like,
yeah, I mean, you just... Oh, look at it.
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
Oh, Dookie?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be Dookie or oil?
Oh, that might have been... But there's like Dookie that looks like... Yeah, it literally...
All right.
It's like 3
I mean,
hours.
It's 3 hours?
And that's the thing, this sci-fi, it's... literally
nothing about it that's sci-fi.
It's literally, it should have just been called the Middle Ages. It should just, or the Dark Ages.
They got your ass.
Yeah.
They got your ass. See, this would get me on Tubi. I'd be like scrolling around the sci-fi section. I'd be like, I'm gonna watch it, and I'd be mad as hell. No no spaceships pull up in this movie?
No.
Nothing.
No. I think at the very end,
Right.
I noticed that it showed him, I think, with glasses on, which I think was the only anachronistic thing that I could see as far as something out of the time that didn't make sense.
Okay,
was I
that
saw
was like,
glasses briefly on him.
and nobody was like, "Hey man, what the fuck you got on your face?"
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Hey.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
insane.
hard to be a guy. So what was? Hang on, go back here. Let's see what was the other one we had up there. I mean, is there anything else you got to say about this?
Oh
thing?
no, other than it's
a
I
German
feel like
director.
it's Russian.
Russian? Okay.
Yeah, it's if you want an experience and not much of a story whatsoever, it's kind of just following him around. He seems to be of a higher status than most people around him, but it's just a filthy, disgusting medieval world, and he's just kind of wandering a part of. It's
wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
it's literally like
I'm
if they
adding
just
this
had
one.
cameras set up hidden in the Dark Ages and they had footage of it. I'm serious. It's like it's hidden. It's,
No, it sounds dope.
yeah,
it honestly
it's a
sounds fucking
reality show based in the Dark Ages.
You say it's 3 hours?
It might even be longer than that, honestly.
Good God.
It's very long.
Have you ever seen the movie Bronson with Tom Hardy?
Yeah, but you'd actually seen it before me. But oh yeah, because I know. Oh, this was one I would mention, Inland Empire, David Lynch. But no, Bronson, you can talk about that.
Oh, well, no, I mean, there's not much to talk about. It's just a great movie. That was I remember that was like one of the first movies that I had just watched like on my own. Nobody
Nicholas
had told me
Winding
about
Refn, that's the director. Nick Refn.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was just
you're fine.
for Bronson.
Oh, yeah.
Because he did Drive, and he also did Valhalla Rising, and he did Only God Forgive. Or
See, I've seen
Only God Who Can Forgive, the Ryan Gosling one.
I like pretty much all those movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I remember back when this is crazy. Like I saw Bronson on the shelf at Blockbuster. I was looking for random other movies.
2 hours
and I
and
saw
57
Bronson.
minutes. Sorry, that's how long Hard to Be a God is. 2 hours
Oh,
and 57 minutes. So just a little shot of 3 hours. You can
Yeah,
make it.
well, that's not too bad. You can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a couple of
Yeah.
of breaks in between.
But yeah,
You're good.
Bronson. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I saw that like on the shelf at Blockbuster, and I just took a chance. I was like, man, fuck it. I don't know. It seems interesting.
Yeah.
So like, I took it home and watched it, and I was like, wow, this movie's a little weird. But I mean, in those days, it's like you paid for it. You went to you rented it. So I wasn't just gonna like turn it off. So I'm watching. I'm like, this is a weird movie. But then it keeps going. I'm like, that's a good fucking movie. And then at that point, it's like it's one of my favorite movies. Like, I love that movie.
But yeah,
there was another one I just thought of. If you got something else, go ahead.
Yeah,
I just thought.
I mean,
no,
I guess I could just share this crappy spreadsheet where I just came up a list of the Beau's Afraid, Aniara, this 2019 Swedish sci-fi. It's incredibly depressing.
Yeah, let's look at that. Show us this. We need to be.
So Aniara, and I think it's based there's some classical or some piece called Aniara that somehow, I don't know if it inspired the creation or writing of it, but it's and it's actually sci-fi. It's not misleading. A spaceship that's carrying settlers to Mars is knocked off course, causing consumption-based obsessed passengers to consider the base of the universe. Well, it gets knocked off course to a point to where they're never gonna make their destination. So it's basically this like space arc full of people that are gonna be stuck floating in space until they die.
Whoa.
And just what they're going through, and having something happen that gives them a glimpse of hope, like they might be able to reach or contact somebody. But yeah, and it's sad and depressing, and then you might have hope in the end, but I wouldn't say that it's pretty dark and
Don't
depressing.
watch it before you go to bed.
But it's like the production quality on top of just
grade A.
Yeah, it was surprising. It was.
Yeah, I mean,
Aniara, really heavy thematic. Dealing with the existential themes and and just whenever you're stuck on an arc without hope, with a bunch of other people, and just seeing the way that affects people. Some people obviously start killing themselves, some don't.
Yeah,
like when they is pregnant, whatever, and then she has her baby, but then she kills herself and her baby because she realizes like, why do I even want to put them through this? And just really, really heavy stuff. But it's so well done. I highly recommended it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing about, like, I will give you credit for that. You really have not steered me wrong. Anything you've recommended, I've checked it out, and it's I'll
tell you what
you
what you're in
you
for.
give me a good. I was gonna say you give me a good idea of
so
what
don't go in
expect,
expecting
like,
to feel good for most of these, or at least for this piece. I could go through movies that I think are uplifting, or are really well done that aren't depressing, but.
Okay, I'll add one for the people that's like, I'll say this one, you can pull it up if you want. This is something that should be, I feel like most people should know about, but then again, too, it's like, I mentioned it to a lot of people and they have no idea, but the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Wes Anderson, yeah.
So it's like,
dude,
I love that movie.
The Royal Tenenbaums is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes, and it's like, that, to me, it's the Grand Budapest Hotel. A lot of people, I bring it up to them, and they're like, what is that? And to me, it was like a mainstream, it was a huge deal.
Yeah, Wes Anderson has enough of a name to where I feel like...
But yeah, that's the cover you're looking for. The big white and pink hotel.
Wes Anderson's got that visual style. Where at first it was kind of... I liked it, starting with the Royal Tenenbaums I saw in high school. And then it kind of got to be... I felt a little annoyed by it, but now, later in my life, and seeing that he's stuck with it, I appreciate it. That he's like, I'm gonna have my own approach own style. If you start watching a movie, you're immediately gonna know if it's one of mine.
Yeah,
because he's got this consistency to, and just his directing style, and just the way he does his sets, and just the worlds that he builds.
It's funny you said that, but because when I watched this, I like randomly, it was on TV one night or something, and I just like left it on, but I hadn't even realized that I just saw it and I was like, I bet this looks like the Royal Tenenbaums or some shit. And just watching it. So it's funny that you said that, because it's like he accomplished it with me having no idea. I watched it, I'm like, this looks like it's filmed like the Royal Tenenbaums. Like, but it's such a good, like,
it's
that
just a
character.
Good story.
It is such a good movie.
Yeah.
It's because it's a great one to watch with your chick. Shit, watch it by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a good all around. It's a funny.
The thing about Wes Anderson, for the most part, he's has his own creative flair, but he has, what seems like kind of simple, straightforward, not one-dimensional characters, but I don't know, just the stories won't be too complex, and the characters will be approachable and accessible, and everything will be just kind of unique and quirky, but it'll still tell. Ed Norton's in a bunch
that's
of
what I'm
stuff
saying. All the people he has in this movie.
Did you have Moonrise Kingdom?
Yeah.
It's also Wes Anderson.
Okay.
And that one's even more feel good. It's like a kids camp type thing, but it's
but
good.
I mean, the laundry list of actors he has in this is
and he
insane.
like a lot of directors, he likes working. He kind of you see directors work with the same actors a lot of times. So it's kind of you can see has a relationship that he works with a lot of the same people.
Oh yeah, but that's just one I wanted to throw out there of a little bit of a less obscure movie, but it's still it's one that a lot of people really have no idea about, unless there's something that pops up on Netflix or something like that. You're not going to see,
exactly.
People won't watch them, but I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. I thought it was a really funny movie.
Yeah.
I was surprised by it. I thought I wouldn't enjoy it.
see, one, I want to touch on Upstream Colors.
Yeah.
Just because this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Really?
It's not just like a great movie, but this is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. So Upstream Color was Shane. So the director Shane Carruth. If you ever, there's this movie called Primer that he did for like literally, I think he made it on for like $5,000, right? But it's maybe the most realistic time travel movie in my opinion. Like as far as these two guys.
This movie?
No, the first movie.
The
first movie, Primer, that made me key in on this guy, on this director. But Primer, so it's really good as far as the most realistic time travel movie I've seen, in what people, like a couple guys figure something out might do and how they might monetize and just. We're gonna try and play the stock market every day. We're gonna know just enough information to go back in time, just enough to be able to make these trades, but do it in ways that don't stand out, and just that sort of thing. But so no, Upstream Color as follow up, which I would say this, if you're looking there, it's one of those kind of experience movies.
Okay.
To where there's like no linear narrative, there's no exposition explaining at all what you're seeing, right?
Okay.
But you're seeing. Let me read this, how this summarizes it. A man and woman are drawn together, entangled in the life cycle of an ageless organism. Identity becomes an illusion as they struggle to assemble the loose fragments of wrecked lives. So it's basically there are these worms that I don't know how people found this out or how this information came about, but there are these worms that are able to basically, you can get people to ingest, and they're open to suggestion, right? Basically, like they're under hypnosis.
Oh, wow.
And so there's this one, and the characters don't even have names other than like the thief or the something or another. Like, let's see how the sampler, right? The sampler, the thief.
Oh wow.
Orchid daughter. So they just have, the main characters have first names, I guess, but this thief knows about the worms, so he just gets random people and drugs them, and basically he meets the Amy Simmett's chick character, and he just gets them to empty their bank accounts out and robs them blind.
Oh, what?
Basically, like they were hypnotized. He robs them blind, and like it shows him doing that to her. But the suggestion, he's like, it's just really neat because like when you see my face, you don't see my face. You only see a bright light. So like you see her and like she can't see his face. He's like, and he doesn't give her any food. He's like, this water isn't just normal water, it's special water. It gives you energy and makes you feel better than you've ever felt. But you can only have a sip when I tell you. And like in this crazy ways that he's controlling her while he's doing like robbing her blind. So it's crazy, but that's just a component of it, right? And it's basically this cycle of this organism, how it affects these people. And then there's this sampler guy who's all about these people have these worms in them. They try and get them out, and I guess he draws them to them through sound somehow. I don't know. And he gets the worms out, and then he sticks them in pigs. Right? And then these people who have the worms in the pig that it's in, they're experiencing everything the pigs are, like emotionally, right? But they don't know what's going on. So like out of nowhere, like these pigs, like there's like the family pigs, these little pigs are getting like taken away from the parent pigs, and the parent pigs are freaking out, and like the lady is just somewhere in her own life, and she just starts getting like emotionally disturbed, like what's wrong, and like the guy is like the father pig, and he's like at his job, and he's like doing a presentation, and he starts freaking out and just like attacking people because he's feeling the emotions that these pigs are feeling. What? Because this worm but so that's just kind of like a bit.
That is a fucking.
But that's just a bit of.
Where do you find this shit? How you find this shit?
And there's no explanation to any of this. You're just seeing these things unfold, and honestly, you have to piece together what it means or how it all comes together, because it's called Upstream Color, because in the cycle of the life of this worm, like this guy gets these pigs, and like these baby pigs that die for one reason or another, he just tosses them into this creek. And I guess since they were affected by the worm or something, their blood is a different color, and it goes upstream into these plants, and these plants that the blood whatever cause these flowers to have like an unnatural color, and that's where the worms like come out of. What? So that's like the cycle, and yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's nuts, man.
I feel like this guy right here has a lot to do with Jeff.
Yeah, Shane Carruth, and he's in
Jeff?
it, and he's the director.
Fucking Jeff.
And I've been waiting.
You can't trust him. You can't trust anybody named Jeff. I'll tell you that much.
There's, man, it breaks my heart because I know there's like other movie he was working on for a while, but I know that from what I've read, he's just like so disillusioned with the actual like trying to deal with Hollywood to get something like a project off the ground that's of like unique artistic integrity that he has to bring. Well, I still feel like I'd like to think he could somehow get another project funded. But Shane Carruth, I know he went to college and was like got a degree in mathematics and so he was like a real sharp, smart guy, and he got into this filmmaking. That's like the whole time travel thing, as far as being mathematically sound as possible. Mm-hmm. I feel like it does the best job primer at presenting that.
What about should we mention the movie that I was in? You think? No.
I mean, Mikey was actually in a movie.
I actually was in a movie.
I guess we should just at least.
Yeah. I mean, it was top notch shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Daylights.
I mean, after this, maybe take a quick break.
Yeah, let's take a break.
But so, what's the movie that you were actually in?
Daylight's End.
End?
Yeah, there it is. It's got the dude, and you know what's funny? I was on set with this dude right next. I separated my shoulder doing something like a stunt. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. What do I know about it? They're like, "Hey, dude, run and fall right here," but they didn't give me any kind of parameters, and the floor was all slippery and shit. And I ate shit and just like blew my shoulder out.
You went for it.
But I went full send. But I'm standing there talking to this dude, Johnny Strong, and I'm like sitting there talking to him. I got
Johnny
my arm,
Strong.
I got my shoulder blown
name.
the fuck out. Oh, dude, and I've got my shoulder like blown out. I'm holding my shit's like hanging and whatnot. I'm just chilling, and he's sitting there talking to me. And then later on, I go home and realize. And I'm like, that's the motherfucker from Fast and the Furious. He's one of fucking like
one of the first ones?
Toretto's homeboys. Like he's one of Vin Diesel's homeboys that like runs with him. And then also he was in the movie Get Carter with Sylvester Stallone.
I remember Get Carter.
And I knew, he was
a remake.
He was in that movie with Stallone. Huh. And like I'm sitting there later on, I'm like at my house. I go home and I'm like, what the fuck was that guy? And he's like the main dude in the movie that I was on. But yeah,
man, it
totally just got
a lot of
shot in this movie. Look, you'll see it.
Yeah,
I think
Dallas. You can see the Dallas.
Yeah, don't go any more into it, but it shows it in the previews. You'll see me get shot. I'll point out right here. They're about to show people run up, and then I'm just a random dude that gets shot. But it was cool to just see how like a movie works.
Set and all that, dude.
Yeah, and I was gonna say to see how a movie works.
No, I would love to. That's more than I've ever seen. Like actually in person, being up in the process like that.
Like for instance, the guy that shoots me was my old instructor,
Lance Henriksen. He was in Aliens and then a bunch of other stuff. But that was Bishop.
Yep.
The android in Aliens. Always remember him.
My mom, when I told her about it, she was like, "Lance Henriksen, he was in that movie? Oh my gosh!" I was like, "Yeah." But no, Sonny, for instance, it was interesting because it's like he shoots me in the scene, but he wasn't even there that day. But like the way they make
so
it look,
unrealistic.
Yeah, exactly. The way they make it look.
The guy that shot me, he wasn't even here.
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting to think about it like that. It's like, oh wow, like a lot of times they're just filming scenes and.
Oh yeah, dude.
They
have storyboards that they'll just go and splice it and edit.
Like
you're like one of those.
Yeah, exactly. One
people
of the
running, right?
Exactly, just one of the guys in the back.
Hey,
that
man,
was it.
You were in a movie, dude. That's more than I could say. Other than my home movies.
It was funny though, man. Like you said, it's
dude,
just about
awesome.
the experience.
I think it's cool. Like.
Yeah.
I would say I'm jealous. I'm happy you were able to. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, don't be jealous, though.
I'm not jealous.
You know what I'm upset about? I let them keep all the clothes, like, I brought. Because it was like, you can bring your own. I brought, like, old work pants and stuff. And they were like, you want to donate them or whatever? I was like, I don't know what they did with them. Maybe they're
Can I give them to my kids? They're like, this is a low-budget movie.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was bad, yeah.
The people making that movie aren't necessarily making a lot of money themselves.
No, the budget was very low. And they were, I think, once I blew my shoulder out, they were all scrambling, hoping I didn't sue or something. Like, they were worried, man.
Did
they
he
were
sign
like,
the waiver?
No, they were coming over and everybody was real nice, and they're all like, are you okay? Do you need that? Blah, blah, blah. But they were also, too, like, you need to get the fuck out of here. And get him out of here.
Oh, that's funny, man. We're cool.
All right, man. Let's take a break.
Yeah, man. Hello.
Yes.
Quite a segment.
We're back.
Quite a segment. Takes a lot out of it.
What are these?
some Reese's Pieces.
All right.
Thank
So
you, sir.
now we just got done talking about some movies and shit. I figured go ahead. Why don't you give the people give them a few TV shows, some series, because some people, they don't really want to watch a movie. They need some shit they want to watch, get hooked on, and watch it for like, a fucking month. Dedicate some time to that shit.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So,
We live in the streaming world where that is the main
hit me
format.
with some shit. What do you recommend?
Yeah.
Like,
No, so I was thinking maybe we could mention some imports. Some
okay,
just to kind of, if you're looking to kind of get out of maybe your scope or things you've heard of. You might have heard of some of these, you might not have. But one I know I've been touting for a while called Gomorrah.
Yup, no doubt. You definitely been talking about it, and again, I have not watched this, so I can't really talk too much. But
it's an Italian kind of criminal, I guess, criminal
crime. Get that with the green and
crime
the red here.
drama. But it's the one that's basically based on this book by Roberto Saviano, who's this Italian journalist who really got basically implanted with not implanted, but he was immersed in, I guess, being around the crime and the criminals that were doing like in Naples or parts of Italy, to where he learned and exposed a lot to where he's like, that's what we'll do. I'll just look him up because it can summarize better like exactly what
they're trying to
what his life is like now.
There you go. And this is the fella that
there was a movie that was made, and then there's a series that was made. I'm talking about the series based on this guy's book. Yeah, he uses investigative reporting to tell economic reality of the territory and business of organized crime in Italy. After receiving death threats in 2006, he's basically been under strict security protocol and lived under police protection since 2006.
Holy shit!
Yeah, dude. So
he's snitching. In their eyes, he's snitching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his little book writing and movies.
Yeah. So his book is basically the inspiration for a lot of that's going on in this series. Is that
supposed to be that fella?
No, it's not.
But
this is the main one of the main characters. He's called the Immortal because he doesn't die. He was a babe. Like his mom died in like an earthquake when he was a baby, and he was the only person that survived in the whole building as a baby. And so he was basically ascribed that deal. Nickname, and it's how it's been.
Fuck.
But it's and again it's Stefano Sollima is like one of the main directors, creatives behind it, even though he's not listed there.
Man, you did a whole building or something?
Yeah, I mean that's just his backstory as a baby, but it's
crazy.
just
I mean, yeah.
As far as Italian current, if you think of a grittier The Wire that doesn't have near as much polish or exposition, because a lot of it is just following these characters around and the unforgiving nature of what it really is like in these criminal underworlds, and especially in these more poverty-stricken areas of Italy. It's there's Sopranos on steroids. It's just so well crafted, and just the direction behind it, as far as it's really putting you into the scene with what's going on, and just the soundtrack and the way it's delivered and the characters. It's unrelenting, gritty, and it isn't for the faint of heart, because there's not one character that you align with as, okay, I hope this guy wins.
Yeah.
There's not that at all. They're all and the main guy.
It's like everybody's expendable pretty much.
Yeah, but no, even the main guy, the Immortal, does some of the most heinous things.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he chokes his own wife to death on a beach.
Oh god.
Yeah, and he kidnaps and kills this young girl trying to get information out of it. And he is a piece. They're all garbage.
Yeah,
they're all terrible humans, right? And you just try and look for the sense of humanity in any of them, because they'll have their wife and kids, so it's like they try and have it, but in a split second, if somebody needs to die because we think that they might or we think that they might be aligning with a different gang, it's definitely neat. Hardcore, but it's so engrossing, and like I'm watching it again for probably the 5th time right now.
Really?
Yeah. Like I just have it, like I'll be working, I'll just have it on the background. It's just one of those for me. Just the way every scene is done and unfolds in the soundtrack, in the acting, it all just comes together into what I would call a tour de force.
Okay, there you go.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah. No, I know exactly what you know. I mean, it's
and it's ended. So I mean, the series it had a
todo?
conclusion. Yes, es finito. Es no más. Es todo. Sí. So
yeah, no, I mean, so this that's like you saying you rewatching it again. That's pretty much what I've started doing again. My show, like in a sense, the way when I'm like with that is dark.
Yeah.
When you put me on an import,
that
put me like, I'll rewatch it because the first time
just try and figure it, put it all together.
I know it all. I know everything, but I'm still like, wait a minute. Like by the end of it all, I was able to catch up and understand what all happened. Yeah. But I'm like, I missed so much. I know. It's like, so I've already gone back, and as I'm rewatching it, it's nice being able to know the relationship of everything. And now I'm able to pick everything up, and so this is definitely one for me that you almost, it's like the one time through watching, like, not with your phone in your hand looking at bullshit on there, like if you actually
you have to pay attention to get what the effect out of this.
Yes,
you gotta be keyed in. You gotta
and you're definitely, it's definitely worth doing it because I don't know. I just feel like they capture everything so perfectly. Like they capture, the cinematic stuff, the scenes, the shots, they're really able to get it all to match the tone of voice and everything with where they're at. And I mean, it's just, I don't know, man.
And the show's called dark, and it's just the whole sense of dreariness and bleakness to this world, and that some of these characters, and then as you kind of learn to understand why it even seems this way to them, because basically they shouldn't exist.
Yes. Yes.
To summarize it without saying they really shouldn't even exist.
No, I know,
and just to like exist when you shouldn't exist, and just that being even a concept outside of the actual narrative that's occurring.
Yes.
But I feel like that plays. And just it's,
to me it was
great.
In my opinion, I will go ahead and say this to anybody that's gonna watch it. It's gonna take you, at least in my opinion, till like the 3rd episode to really get you. But if you get through the first 2, like, and I don't mean get through,
that sort of thing.
It's not like get through it that it's like pulling teeth, but it's just like, by the end of the 2nd, going into the 3rd, you have a way better understanding, and you have a better understanding of what they're, because the first episode is just introducing characters and kind of the plot of the show,
right?
And then the 2nd episode, the characters, and they've given you the plot, but now you don't understand the whole like picture. It's like, where is it supposed to go?
Yeah.
And then once the 3rd episode hits, you're like, you really start to get it, and you're like, okay. So I think I know. At that point, you're starting to build up things in your mind, and then that's when it's like, I want to know what's going to happen. At that point, I just like, I binged it. Once I got to that point, it was like, oh man, I'm stuck. Because then too, once the new season starts or whatever, I started watching I was like paying attention. Well, no, I was paying attention to the opening scene, how it changed or whatever, and I'm like, who's that lady? I haven't seen that person.
Okay,
when are they going to get in the show? So it's a great show.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's one that you put me on, and I was not disappointed by any means. I was like, all right, man.
Heck yeah. Let's see. Another, again, we're doing some imports here. And this one's also on Netflix, called Into the Night.
Okay.
And I've actually read the book.
Pretty accessible.
Yeah, I've read the book that this is actually based on, which So, when radiation from the sun causes global disaster, survivors on an overnight flight from Brussels race from city to city trying to stay ahead of the sun's rays by remaining in the cover of night. So basically, the sun has turned completely lethal to where if you're exposed to sunlight, you die.
Oh,
and so
shit.
these people are on this plane when that happens. No, we don't know
Or
exactly
just,
why.
we don't know why.
We don't know why, but it's for whatever reason the sun has
Got fucking mad.
Yeah, sun got pissed, and if you're exposed to sunlight, you die. So these people are on this plane, and they're just trying to fly around the world, staying in the dark the whole time. Right?
The fuck?
Yeah. So that's the premise. And the book it's based on is actually called The Old Axolotl, which the premise of the book gets even crazier because the show is basically based around the opening premise of the book, which is basically that event occurs. But in the book, it gets more into, so some people are able to upload whatever their best copy or version of their consciousness basically to like a hard drive or software, and basically live as androids or live basically within if we're uploaded our consciousness to the cloud, or if we're able to transfer a copy of our mind to software or hardware, whatever, to computers, that's how mankind has existed or continues to exist, and they're able to eventually come up with technology that allows them to try and create genetically design humans again, to try and create man again.
Oh shit!
And it gets
so now that they gotta fuck
it gets
to
crazy.
repopulate.
No,
Earth.
but yeah. So the show, I don't think there's been two seasons, and actually, I don't know if I call it even a spin-off, but there's one. I don't remember if it's the first, second season. You briefly see that there's a submarine, that's with people on it. You just kind of see how, but it doesn't get into it. There's a series that is based on that submarine, Yakima's S-245, and so this is taking place in the same universe, the same world where all that happens. Yeah, and except these people are on this submarine, they're surviving.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
that's fucking cool.
I don't know for sure if they're still continuing it. They definitely didn't close the story out, but yeah, I forgot about that. So, but yeah, Into the Night, and then you'll definitely feel and these are real cool because the pacing on it is a lot of the episodes aren't even 45 or 50 minutes, but so there's not a lot of filler. Everything you're seeing is really fast paced, and it's basically the tenseness and the fear and the fright that they're experiencing. That's the pace of the show is okay, we gotta keep moving, we gotta keep going if we're gonna live. That's the pace of the show itself.
That's cool.
And so you'll blow through it. I think it might only be 6 or 8 episodes, but you'll blow through it in a day or two, just and be like, dang, it sucks you in quickly. It's not like Dark where you might need a couple of. You watch the first episode of this, and you're in or you're not.
Okay.
And more than likely, I'd like to think you'll be in. I mean, because it's, yeah.
There was did you ever, this is a mainstream show, but this is one I love. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of people probably go, oh yeah, of course I know that show. Fucking great to watch. Again, I started rewatching. It's another one I'm rewatching. The Americans.
Oh,
did you ever watch that?
I did. I didn't finish it.
You didn't finish it?
And that's
Dude,
sorry.
that is such a good show.
Dude,
The Americans is
I
that
don't know
one.
why I didn't finish it.
From the pilot, I watched because me and when my aunt was still alive, I remember watching the pilot with her. We saw the fucking previews, and I was like, this show looks badass. And from the pilot, we watched it, and I love that show. That's such a good one.
Yeah.
That one to me is also
the main dude on there.
They've
done a Perry Mason show on HBO. That the main actor from that is Perry Mason.
Oh no shit! He would make a great fucking Perry Mason.
Yeah, and that's on HBO Max.
You know who would? You know what? Honestly, this is random, and I know this is a random fucking thought, but I also one of the shows I randomly watch is Columbo.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like Mark Ruffalo is trying to be fucking knock off Columbo.
Well, he had either he was in a wreck or had some incident that made that's the way he's kind of.
Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah, that's why. Oh no, he did early in his career or life to where I don't his face part of his face doesn't work is because of that accident that he had.
I don't know if it was maybe I don't know. I have to pay attention if that's what it is. I feel like it's his overall mannerisms. He tries to do like it's like, oh, you trying to cop my boy Columbo, man? Like, you can't cop his style.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know that actor's name. The glass eye. Gosh.
The dude that plays Columbo?
Yeah.
Dude, such a good actor.
I know.
I love watching it. You can't get shit past my boy Columbo. When he comes in with that fucking swisher, he's puffing on a cigar with his... Why didn't anybody wear those coats anymore? Those fucking... The raincoats? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, dusters?
Yeah, like, you should
dude,
have one of those.
Dude. I've talked to my wife. I really want
Why
one.
Why don't we wear those?
You've got to be badass to wear one, man.
No, you don't.
I think you do.
Look at that. Can
badass,
the people see
dude.
that?
Peter Falk.
Dude, what a guy. You weren't getting anything past
Yeah,
him.
dude. No, you gotta be a badass like FBI agent or something.
Look at that look he's giving there with the stogie in his hand.
Because he's one of his eyes is fake.
Look.
He's got a glass eye.
Man, what a guy.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's awesome.
But yeah, I connected that dot the other day. I was like, Mark Ruffalo, it seems like he's trying to do
that's a good tie-in. That's a good cat.
You know? I don't mean to hate on him. I didn't know he was in an accident.
Because
I loved him. I loved him in fucking what's it called? That's the reason I like him. The reason it made sense to me is because
I knew you were gonna say that. We've never even talked about it.
I'm out.
Yeah. David Fincher, man. David Fincher directed. So
dude, Zodiac, yes.
And the thing is, that was before the world of streaming is what it is. Yes. And I think these directors that were willing to make really long movies, because it's funny when somebody says, "Oh, that's a 3-hour movie," but then they'll sit there and watch like 10 episodes of a show. Yeah, it's like, do you not see the?
You just take a break, pause the shit,
if anything,
walk away.
That makes movies have to be their own unique experience because it is, unless it's part of a
movie is like a steak almost. You feel like you got to eat it all in one sitting. You feel bad about packing it up, taking it home, putting it in the fridge. I don't know where in the hell that came from. It sounded like something my dad would say. Son, you don't keep steaks. You eat them. If you want to sit down at the table, you eat the steak. What are we doing now? We're checking into him.
It was
facial paralysis.
No, so he had a vesicular schwannoma, type of brain tumor. The tumor is found to be benign. After surgery, removed the mass, resulted in partial facial paralysis. So I wasn't a wreck, but I knew that there was something. But he's still deaf in his left ear.
Well, he's one hell of an actor.
Good job, Hulk.
Yeah, I couldn't tell any of that.
Yeah.
So he's a pretty good actor. I couldn't tell.
One movie that he was in that probably a lot of people didn't see was that the movie based around the wrestling. The
wrestling one? I don't know.
No, about the DuPont murder.
Oh, yes. Foxcatcher. Fucking nuts, dude. That movie was nuts.
Yeah, him, Steve Carell. That was like one of his dramatic turns. I felt like he did a good enough job.
I loved him in what was the other one that Mark Ruffalo? The one about the newspaper. He was a reporter for the newspaper that was investigating like the Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah. Boston.
It was like the Sun something Times or Sun.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was he was really good in that movie. I really liked him.
Yeah,
in that movie. That's all.
If you remember, he was also the detective in Collateral. As far as like random movies, it was a smaller role, but earlier. Michael Mann.
That's right.
Dunkers, yeah.
That's right.
He had his earring and like a goatee. Looks funny, man.
That's right, dude.
Yeah, no, he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Man. I just, like I said, the other day. But all right, so Into the Night. So there was those, Into the Night, Dark, and then Gomorrah.
Yeah. And then there's one that it's almost unwatchable, really. It's on Netflix.
How so? It's on Netflix?
Yeah, so it's the director who did the movie Bronson, Nicholas Winding Refn. He did this series.
I know he did a series.
Yeah, but he also did this in his first series. He also did one on Amazon Prime called Too Old to Die Young. That one takes place in it's stateside, so I won't include it. But I've watched it more than once. I love it. I know it's not for everyone. I feel like he's the closest thing to having his own like Twin Peaks, like David Lynchian style. That things are so dark and weird and surreal, but like his tone and delivery is way darker and grittier than David Lynch's. Like
Okay.
David Lynch will get there in some senses. Like I mean, no, he'll get dark in different ways, but he'll still like. One thing I like about David Lynch is he has a sense of humor, and you can see that in his stuff. Like his stuff is just straight up just dark and hardcore. So this Copenhagen Cowboy.
I'm gonna go watch this.
Oh yeah,
this honestly looks really good.
Yeah, dude. It's
just because, like you said, it was like he did Bronson, and I'm such a fan of Bronson, so I already know, like, and I can tell by the way it looks.
Like where I'm telling you, it's like a
no, I can see what you mean.
Swedish or weird darker or more even dark, just toned David Lynch style things where there's weird powers that aren't explainable, and you don't even necessarily get an explanation for a lot of it. And it's a lot of people would sit there and I swear that the show that I might as well mention, Too Old to Die Young, and I think he was trying to make a point here, or at least that's what I came to conclusion. Cause,
Miles Teller's in it.
Yeah, so this show is on Amazon. I love it, but it's very dark and disturbing, of course. But he'll have scenes where people just sit there in silence for like 30 seconds.
It's like staring at each other. Oh shit!
Like this.
We're doing it.
What if we did the whole show? Something like this. The whole series is that
was
way.
It. Wow.
Dude, but so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, he's obviously doing this on purpose, and I'm almost thinking
this guy's fucking trolling. He's like, how long will
creating
people
like
watch?
a tableau, right? So a lot of the scenes you see, the way that they're done, there's almost like you're looking at like a set piece, or like I said, like a tableau or like a scene. So it's really cool as far as just taking in the scenes and really taking them in.
Yeah.
I feel like he's almost trying to be like, look, if you want to sit here and watch this, you need to pay attention.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to pay attention, I'm going to do this so slow, and you're going to either be along for the ride and you're going to have to sit there and pay attention, or else this isn't for you. Because it's almost gratuitous in how slow it is in scenes.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm so captivated by what he's doing in his delivery to where I find it utterly mesmerizing.
That's crazy. No,
yeah,
I'm gonna have
and this is on
another
Amazon.
one. No, this is another one. This one.
And I feel like when this came out, it's almost like they had a couple advertisements for it, and then they just completely went away to where it's like, I'm just glad that he gets the budget to do these shows, because I don't know people that are willing to sit through them other than me.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But I love it, dude. This is Too Old to Die Young. I like it way more than Copenhagen Cowboy. I like it way more. I mean, it's easier to follow a plot, but it's still really, really weird and twisted. And there's maybe one or two redeeming characters, but it's again a brutal, very unforgiving show.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to check this one out.
Yeah,
no doubt. This definitely looks like it's something up my alley.
Yeah, dude. It's. I would check out this one first. Too Old to Die Young. It's nuts, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna after Gamora, I'm gonna have to watch this again.
Really?
Yeah, I've probably watched this already 3 or 4 times. Like I'm telling you, like if there's a show that I'm really, and that's one of the upsides I think of this whole streaming world we live in now is directors and creators getting the format and the platform to create extensive stories. Yeah. And in some situations, given budgets to do things, some of that's slowed down, but still for the we're seeing, the long form extended storylines and, creative ideas and dreams of like some of these people. If you like what they've done in film, getting to see some of that translate to limited series or even, seasons. It's pretty cool.
I feel like, I was going to say too, and I feel like that's even kind of just the way most stuff's going anyhow is, I feel like it's long-term probably more profitable for them to, if they can, instead of, movies are profitable, but I feel like at this point it's becoming more profitable to have some kind of type of streaming show.
Well, yeah.
Because it's hard to get people to go out to the movies.
Yeah, that, and then, there's been so much to produce these movies, and you see the superhero genre starting to fizzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's kind of, and you could go a whole nother route on why versus fatigue, which a lot of that's probably just viewer fatigue. But honestly, I think no, I'm not gonna get political. But I think creators are not able to just tell the simple stories that they want to as much as they used to be able to, and they feels like they have to have certain elements or do certain things, if they would have had them in the story or not. Okay. To the detriment of the overall product.
Of what they're trying they're trying to add to make unique or something.
Yeah, if I just want to straight
No, that's
so
a
it's
way
like
of putting it.
Yeah, but that that's just one element of many that could be attributing to that. But yeah.
So I just had this random thought, this is back to a movie, but a movie that people, a friend of mine, we were just talking about this the other night, how it's super underrated, and it kind of came out, I think he was somebody brought up, it came out during the whole Marvel, the heat of the Marvel era movies.
Okay. Which one?
Talk, The Watchmen.
Oh,
it got slept on.
Again, so yeah,
and then
Zack
they had
Snyder,
a series of it that only lasted one season.
Yeah, but that was a perfect season.
Yeah,
I thought the Watchmen. So Damon Lindelof did that, right? So you get me going down rabbit hole.
Come on.
So Watchmen was great because Damon Lindelof did that, right? He's one of the creators who did Lost with J.J. Abrams.
Yes.
But so Damon Lindelof, after Lost, one of my favorite shows of all time, The Leftovers. He was the creator behind that. That was on HBO.
That was a show, The Leftovers?
A show called The Leftovers, which if I have my ranking of top shows of all time, this would be in the top 10. It basically takes the idea. It's a lot of people would say it's like if the rapture happened, but that's not what happened in the show.
Oh,
it's literally just 2% of the humans' population disappears out of nowhere, and so that happens, and basically these people that are left, the leftovers, but it's hardly any people disappear, but enough to where everyone is affected, or about everyone is, and if you weren't, if you didn't lose any family or anything, people look at you why are you special?
Yeah.
But then if you are impacted, then obviously, in my interpretation at the end of it, the more I thought about it, felt like it was because people it gets really weird and things that people are doing and all these weird groups and cult type thing forms and it gets bizarre. But in my mind, it's if the whole world experienced trauma and loss in the same event, what would that look like? And how would that might that look like? So it's almost like if everyone in the world had lost a family member at the same time, what would that look like? If you saw the whole world suffer loss and trauma at the same time, I felt like that's what the show's doing. At least that was one of my takeaways. So having that mindset, I feel really makes the bizarre and wackiness make a little more sense, because you can't, everyone's sharing
everybody's
a trauma
going through instability
like that, and and just seeing how that impacts everything. I don't know. And Justin Theroux's in there, he does so good, and Carrie Coon. Yeah,
no, that's just wild.
It's really good. So sorry. So Damon Lindelof,
did
this, one of my favorite shows, and so he did The Watchmen, the series.
Okay.
Which, it started off it has a lot of racial, racism. Addresses things that have occurred in history and brings them to light, which.
It's relevant.
It is, and I like the way he did it.
I
like the way he did it because it didn't seem political or motivated, more people don't even know this happened.
Yeah.
And showing it, but then still building that into this superhero mythology that the Watchmen carry, but doing it all in such a a well done, convincing way that doesn't take away from, in my mind, what the Watchmen was before tying in this other element. And I just thought it was perfectly executed. And then the ending, I thought, was one of the best endings of us.
Really?
That episode, the way it ends on the last episode, if you watched it.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen the last episode. I haven't seen I knew they made it into a series. I was just such a fan of the movie.
Yeah.
And my good friend I was talking to about it just the other night, buddy Jeff, shout out Jeff.
Yeah.
He was the one who mentioned he was the show man, and he he went off kind of the same way you did, talking about the show and about how much he liked it and how it only lasted for one season, and that the guy that played Rorschach was dude from Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Yeah, and he's been in some other
Scruggs.
that was
Coen
a crazy
movie.
Yeah, the Coen brothers.
That was a really good movie too, man. But, Man, we're just gonna get fucked.
Yeah,
we're just gonna keep fucking going on.
But the Zack Snyder Watchmen is great because I felt like he was ahead of the curve on like, okay, I'm gonna make. And if you've seen the director's cut for that, which is like over 3 hours long, it was just like if you saw like the Snyder cut of Justice League, which is like a whole nother movie. It's like completely. It's like a whole different movie than what was the theatrical release.
Oh shit!
And so like the director's cut of the Watchmen, it's like he was doing something so long and long form storytelling before it became where people doing shows became what they are. And so that's what's cool about. He's got Rebel Moon coming out that's dropping this month.
I saw. Okay, that's his.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And there's also he's gonna have a director's cut of that releases next year. That's like an R-rated version.
Oh.
That at least in interviews he's saying it's almost like a different movie, but not in a way that obviously takes away from the original, because he went in knowing I'm gonna do this, and Netflix basically said, hey, if you want to do your director's cut too, you have the money to do that. So he basically created two versions of this movie. What? So we're just getting like the intended PG-13 version, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
But then look forward to, and it's already planned like I think at least a 2-part movie. This is like his Star Wars, is what they would say.
Really?
Like his like space opera that he's getting to tell. So I'm excited to see Rebel Moon, but Watchmen and all that.
But yeah, like I said,
you get me going, man.
No, that's fine. No, like I said, I thought about
things. He gets me going. I'll start going down rabbit
hole.
I
said, I thought about that because it was one that me and a friend were talking about just the other day. That it really is like it's a movie that got slept on. A lot of people, because one of our friends hadn't even seen it. Oh yeah. And so that's what me and my buddy Jeff were talking about. It's like we're telling our one friend like, man, you got to watch this, like and then our one buddy brought up like probably the reason a lot of people hadn't seen it or whatnot is it kind of came out during the whole when Iron Man, I think, and all that was like at its peak or whatnot something like the Marvel craze and stuff started happening.
So this is the most recent thing that Lindelof did, and it actually came out earlier this year. And this I feel like was, at least for anyone I know, slept
like a
on.
Badass nun.
I put my my wife onto this, and then she put my sister onto it, and my wife, it's one of the she likes some of the things I like, but not all of them. But this is one she was able to get into, and Damon Lindelof did it, and this is great because it has a ridiculous sense of humor, but Sister Simone partners with ex-boyfriend Wiley on a globe-spanning journey to destroy Mrs. Davis, a powerful AI. But the plot and premise is so bonkers and bizarre, but it's done in such, I don't know, like she's like when she goes and like every time she prays, she actually like goes into like this place where she actually talks to Jesus, and like you see it to where like she's like, that didn't happen every time everyone prays. And so like it's weird because it gives like, it makes these things that would seem, it gives like a realness to supernatural things, but like her actual experiences. Oh yeah, whenever I pray, this is actually my experience. And there's other people, she's like, oh, when I pray to Jesus, that didn't happen to me. But that's just like a way that.
No, it sounds cool.
Yeah, but that's just like a small part of her character. But it's about this AI app that's basically everyone has on their phone. That that I don't know. There's groups of people that are against. They want to try and take it down. Then the AI is named Mrs. Davis, and actually every episode was the name of the episodes are actually created by the AI. Like the creator actually used like AI to come up with the names of the episodes.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
So like the whole idea of AI and like the whole chat GPT and everything sourced, it's like a big component of like what's going on here. So
all right, we're gonna have to eventually, like, I'm not saying we're gonna have to draw the line at some point.
Yeah.
Because
that's probably good
because the reason I'm like you've done put me on like there's like 4 different things now that I'm gonna have to go, like Copenhagen Cowboy. What was the Too Young to Die? Too old to die young. I mean, I'm gonna then you gave me another one after that.
I wasn't even showing. Whoops, I forgot to turn that off. Sorry guys. Mrs. Davis. That was the one.
Yes,
we were just
Mrs.
talking.
Davis. Yes, right here.
Mrs. Davis. I think I showed
The Leftovers. Yeah, I don't know. You may or may not have shown The Leftovers.
Yeah.
I think you might have, but I mean, yeah, like I said, we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah, but so yeah, it's probably a good place to stop. You think? I mean,
Yeah, we could, because you know what? Hell, I'll probably see you this weekend, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, and so there's just like Mikey said last episode. I think we thought of this as low hanging fruit just because it's so easy. For
Yeah, so like we could just sit here and just keep
now,
going.
like, oh, I'll talk about this and all this. Actually branches off into all these other things I love about it.
Well, I was gonna say, because I'm sitting here just thinking about these are the more obscure things, and it's like I'm also thinking of. I mean, there's still a lot of shows that are just sitting on my mind and things that I've loved. I mean, like you said, we can just sit here and go all day with this. And we definitely will do more of it.
And see if you like it.
And y'all let us know if y'all got any movies y'all think.
Shock us with something.
Yeah, shock us, and just put it out there too, so other people can see any recommendations y'all got on pretty much in the same vein, stuff that you feel like it's left on or interesting that you, or even that you just enjoyed or whatnot, and throw it out there. So, like I said, share it with us, man, so we can check it out and let the other people see it too.
Yeah, I was like, I just because I've made it a hobby to try and ferret out and find movies and shows that I don't know anyone else has watched.
Yeah,
but so it's not. It's because I waste time doing it. So I would love if there's something that can be suggested by some. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, dude, but be aware if you suggest some shit that we fucking like. You're about to be the well. You're gonna be a well. We're just gonna be hitting you up. You're gonna have to keep. You can't just stop.
I would love.
You can't just give us one badass recommendation and think that's it.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back to you. If you give us something and we like it, I'm coming back.
Those kindred spirits, to tell us, help us out.
But you got anything you want to say before I hit the old dusty trail?
Well, we gotta hit the Recs of the week. So other than these movies and shows, obviously.
Man, a lot of them.
So I'm gonna go and say what mine is, and this could be quick and easy. I'd never eat these enough. Freaking get yourself some Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, man.
Golly, these are so good. I won't finish them off, but those are so good.
No, yeah, those are yours. I'm done. Please, I want you to finish them off. Merry Christmas. Yeah, my recommendation of the week. I don't really have anything other, and I feel like if you don't really have anything, don't go out of your way to wear some denim. But I was just gonna say,
just denim.
It's the holidays. Don't put too much stress on yourself. Yeah. Don't get out there. Be easy when you're out there in the streets driving around trying to get presents.
To connect.
Yeah, it's not that important. Being out there driving around, getting all mad and shit. So just go out there and just enjoy that time with your family. That's my recommendation of the week. Just take it easy.
Take it sleazy, breezy boy.
Badass handshake. Fucking. What was that, dude? Like a fucking. Yeah, dude. Okay, we'll work on it. Next time.
Better handshake.
Next time.
Please understand that I'm walking in the sky.